Hi guys, happy Saturday. Chef Kevin Belton here. And you know, today is National IPA Day. Now, I'm not a drinker, okay? But I know a little bit about wine and beer and spirits and things like that. Indian Pale Ale, that's what IP stands for. Basically, it's a beer that's hoppy, okay? So today, I decided to make an IPA chili. Yes, we're going with the chili. We're going with a little spiciness, okay? And I've started already because I wanted to get some things done so you can see this entire process, okay? First thing I did, now you guys know I love bacon. I sauteed some bacon off, okay? I got it to where it's, some of it's crispy, some of it's not crispy, but I wanted that drippings from the bacon, okay? Because I took the bacon out, and then in the pan, I went with onion, and I'm using a sweet onion, like a Vidalia. I have red and orange bell pepper, all right? Now, here is diced jalapeños, and right here are poblanos and Anaheim chilies. Now, what I did with those, okay, I took the Anaheims and the poblanos, put them on a roasting pan, and in my small oven here, I just put them under the broiler for about 20 minutes. Every 5 minutes, I turn them, drop them in a paper bag, rolled it down tight, and let them sit in that paper bag for another 15-20 minutes. Basically what that does is it allows them to steam. You can just take them out, pull the skins right off. And I just put them on a cutting board, pull the skins right off, all right? And then took out the seeds, chop them up, and that's what you're left with. That's why you can see how they look so different than the jalapeno, which is fresh, okay? So this is what I've had sauteing in the pan. Now I've had this in the pan. I'll just go ahead and throw these guys in. I've had these in the pan, sauteing. You can see the difference in the onion. We want them to get a little translucent. We want them to cook down, all right? And I tell you what, you can really smell the flavor from those bacon drippings. Now, I'm gonna shut this off for a second. And before I move it, a little fresh garlic, okay? This is about 8 cloves of garlic. And I'm not doing the full recipe, all right? But basically with this garlic, you know, this is gonna cook for a while. So while the pan is hot, even when I turn the fire off, this garlic, because of the heat, it's gonna open up, that flavor's gonna come out of that garlic. Oh, I wish you all could smell this. Monica, you could smell that garlic, can't you? Uh-huh. Gosh, she hates it when I talk about her or talk to her, because she's like, mm-hmm. So here, let's take this out of the pan. Oh, you guys will be able to see this in just a second.
That's a pot.
All right. All right. What you say, man?
That's a pot.
That's a pot. I'm sorry. Take it out of the pot. I have a bad habit of calling pots pans, calling them the same thing. Basically, now what we're going to do, we're using 3 meats, okay? First, I'm going in with some chuck that I've just basically cut it in like 1/2-inch pieces. And I just want that to quickly brown off, okay? Once this gets brown off, and you know, here, I'm gonna just put a little drop of olive oil down in there, all right? Just to get a little oil in the pan. And we're gonna do 2 other meats, okay? One thing here, I just have some ground meat, and here is a sweet Italian sausage, and basically I've just taken it out of the case, okay? Now, what's important is, when you hear talk about sauteing the meats and all, basically this is going to cook for a couple of hours, all right? We want to brown off the chuck, but once that chuck gets browned off, I'm going to go in with the ground meat and the sausage, and you're going to see how, you know, you hear it talk about it's pink right now, and you want to lose that pinkness. That means it's cooked all the way through, but I'll show you why we want to do that, because that way you can get it crumbly, all right? Now, depending on how big a chunks of meat you like, I like to take the spoon and really break it up so the meat gets spread out throughout. So let's go ahead and get our ground meat in. Let's get our Italian sausage in, if it wants to come. Come on. Don't be shy, hop on in. And you're gonna see what I'm talking about. How as we break this up, it's gonna form like a little skin on the bottom. where it first comes in contact with the pan. And you know, if you're making a full recipe, you might want to use a little larger pan than I'm using, okay? Use a nice Dutch oven. But look at the bottom. See how that's a different color? That's what was in contact with the bottom of the pan. So that's why we just want to kind of take a few minutes to break this up. You know, this could take anywhere 2 to 3 minutes, 4 to 5 minutes, just depending on how much you're doing, depending on how much area you have in the bottom of the pan, all right? But it's important to get this done. And the reason why it's important that all the recipes always say you lose the pinkness is because that way it gives that meat a chance to break up, all right? Because if you went with all the other ingredients, you have these 2, maybe 3 or 4 chunks of meat in your chili. And you don't want that. You want that broken up. So that's why we just have to take our time to kind of get this broken up, all right? We're almost there. But let me show you what I'm going to season this with, okay? Now, you know, being a Louisiana guy, I usually always use my Creole seasoning. But you know, some friends from Texas and Oklahoma, they always tell me, hey, when you make chili, you can't make Louisiana chili, you have to make chili. And I'm like, yeah. But you know, we always tend to put our own touch on things. So here, I'm using a few different things, okay? Right here, this is chili powder, all right? Now, my friends in Texas and Oklahoma, when they do chili powder, they use different types of chili powders. This is regular chili powder. This is a little cayenne pepper. I have cumin. This is ground, garlic powder, onion powder, a little smoked paprika. Now, you can use a smoked paprika or a hot paprika if you like. A little salt. And instead of black pepper, this is white pepper, all right? That's what I'm going to season with. And look in the pan. Manish, give them a look in the pan. See how most of that pinkness is gone, all right? And you see how the meat is crumbly? That's why we want to take the time, because by the time we lose that pinkness, okay, it starts to break up. So now, let's get our seasonings in. Oh, I tell you what, the flavors explode when these seasonings, all right, hit that heat. Oh yeah. At this point, we can go ahead and put our bacon back in. And you know, if you want to get the bacon crunchy, if you want to leave it a little to the tooth, that's fine, all right? Let's get our vegetables that we took out back in. And the moisture that the vegetables gave off, we're going to get that back in as well. So the whole point of taking out the vegetables that we sauteed was so we could get our meat browned off. That was the whole point of having to take the vegetables out of the pan. Now, if you choose, all right, you can do your vegetables in a separate skillet while your meat is browning off, and that way you don't have to worry about taking them out of the pan, putting them in a bowl for them to rest. You could just take them right from that skillet once they saute and go right in with the meat, okay? So let's get some other flavors in here, okay? Let me turn the fire down some. We're gonna go in with a little tomato sauce. Now I'm gonna put tomato paste in. And this might be one of the neatest tricks you ever see. With tomato paste, everybody always has a problem getting it out of the can. Open both sides of the can. Look, push it. Take the bottom one off. Push it all the way through. And now all you do is grab the top piece. And that way you don't have to worry about running your finger around the can and maybe cutting your finger, because that way it slips right out. I think that's one of the best tricks I ever learned from my mom, that I watched her do that one day. Because she told me, hey, get the tomato paste out. And of course, I took my finger and cut it, going around the rim right where the can was, where the can cut open. And she says, no, don't do that. Let me show you. And there you go. I learned. So we're going to do a little chicken stock. Now, I have about a half a cup of chicken stock here. But you notice, I put it into the can that had the tomato sauce. Just that way we could rinse this can out really good. And now, one of the stars of the show, the IPA. Now, Abita Brewing Company is a local brewery. It's on the north shore of Lake Pontchartrain, across from the city of New Orleans. All right, in Abita Springs, Louisiana. I'm using their Big Easy IPA. Now, remember, I told you IPA is a hoppy beer, all right? The reason I'm using the Big Easy IPA because this has more of a citrusy, kind of a sweet side to it. And with that tomato paste, I'd like that little sweetness, that little citriness to go here. So let's get our IPA in. And you know, I got to tell a story on a friend. I went up to their office to judge a chili cooking contest. And I'm tasting them, and they're good. And all of a sudden, there was one I got to, and as soon as I tasted it, I just shook because it had such an alcohol flavor. Well, one of the guys at the office told me he had his chili cooking all day long. He had his wife watch it. When he got home from work, he grabbed the beer for himself out of the fridge, then decided to pour one into his chili. But he shut his chili off, let it cool, put it in the refrigerator, so that beer never had a chance to cook out, all right? So here, this is gonna cook for a couple of hours. So that really that beer, that alcohol flavor that can be strong and overpowering if you taste it now, by cooking long, that alcohol flavor cooks out. So make sure when you cook with alcohol, especially something like this, you give it time to cook. The flavor will still be there, but that strong alcohol flavor won't be there. That's why anytime you see a chef make a sauce with white wine or any kind of wine, okay, when we deglaze a pan, you notice it's really hot and we let it reduce a little bit because we want that flavor but not that strong alcohol taste. So let's get in a couple of beans. And I haven't drained these. Here I have some black beans. Now, I chose to use black beans and kidney beans, all right? You could do any kind of bean you want. Typically, you find kidneys, but often you might find some garbanzo beans. You might find some chilies with pinto beans in them. You know, go with whatever bean you particularly like. Oh, baby, this looks so good. Now, like I said, taste this now, and it'll have one flavor. And you know, that may be the great thing. If you taste this right now, it's going to have a complete different taste. Taste it 30 minutes from now, you taste the flavors able to start to develop. Taste it an hour, and those flavors develop more. Because remember, all those vegetables and those peppers we sauteed earlier, those flavors are going to meld with the flavors from the meat, the flavors from the beans. Everything's going to come together really, really nice. So you know, you always hear chefs talk about flavors developing. Something like this that's going to cook for a while, taste it now and taste it in stages, and you see that. So let me show you what it looks like after a couple of hours. Now, okay, don't get on that burner, baby. All right. Oh, yeah. Look how good that looks. Doesn't that look great, gang? So let me get a bowl. Get a nice ladle. Come on, spoon, you get over there. Let's see if we can put this right in the bowl and not get our bowl all dirty. There we are. Now, look, how about, this is a little shredded cheddar that I just shredded. How about some cheddar cheese on it? We could do a little bit of thinly sliced green onions on it. How about a little dollop of sour cream right on the top, all right? And you know, to serve it, hey, you could serve it with cornbread, crackers, some corn chips, all right? You can take the corn chips and crumble them on the top if you want. You could take the cornbread. If you want, cut the cornbread, stick it in the bowl, then ladle chili in, and that way it absorbs into the bread, all right? So try this recipe, and I really, really, really think you're gonna like it. So celebrate National IPA Day. Even if you're not a drinker like Monica and I, hey, we can still cook with it and make it taste good, all right? So keep washing those hands, mask up, stay safe. Thank you for cooking with me today. For WWL TV, I'm Chef Kevin Belton, and we will see you soon.